What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in. This is Tom Hickey from 2020 Media, and you are listening to NBT Bank's On the Scene podcast. Reach over 250,000 readers every day, 24/7, 365 of the Southern New England Jewish Ledger, WeHa.com, West Hartford Magazine. Again, live 24/7, 365. Thank you for joining us, and remember to not only support our guests today, who happen to be Lux Bond & Green, but also our presenting sponsor, NBT Bank. So be safe and be well. Without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Bob Carr, our business manager across the board. Hey, Bob.
Good morning, Tom. So I just introduced Tom to folks who don't know him. Tom Hickey is the owner of 2020 Media. He publishes West Hartford Magazine, the Connecticut Jewish Ledger. He also brings to West Hartford the tastes of West Hartford and the best of West Hartford, which will have its 10th anniversary coming up in 2024. And Bob Carr with WeHa.com, that's we-ha.com. And my partners are Tom Hickey, Ronnie Newton, and Kosa McCarty. I want to welcome the Green family, John Green, Norma Green, and Charlie Green to our podcast. And I usually start with the first question and I'll go from there. So Tom mentioned a little bit earlier before we went on the air about your history. And I actually lived for 30 years in the greater Waterbury area and was very familiar with M.A. Green. And I was surprised to read that Mr. Green started, or your family started 125 years ago from a push cart in Waterbury. So can you tell us a little bit about that and a little bit how the Green family has been able to stay as an independent jeweler for that length of time?
Yeah, well, good morning, Tom. Good morning, Bob. Thank you very much. This is an exciting time for us. 125 years old. I don't think I look it, but it's really kind of exciting to really have a family.
Feel it though, right, John? Yeah, something.
Yeah, exactly, Tom. Fifth generation is pretty remarkable. And yes, we started in Waterbury, Connecticut. Some of this history you can certainly read on our website, but my great-grandfather, M.A. Green, who migrated from Poland, Lithuania, Russia, because everything was kind of a little bit different once upon a time. In the late 1800s, actually, we knew he had a push cart. 1898 on Grant Street in downtown Waterbury was his first storefront, which was a big deal as an entrepreneur who basically in those days, there was no diamond engagement ring. Actually, the engagement ring back then was a ruby ring. But he fixed pocket watches because there was no wristwatches back then. You have to remember some of the history. But gold jewelry, gold eye frames, there was a different type of jewelry, obviously, at that generation. And he started his first storefront in 1898 as an entrepreneur, basically in one of the thriving manufacturing communities in the United States back then, which was Naugatuck Valley or Greater Waterbury. So very proud of that. And he had 7 sons, 4 of which went into the jewelry business. And they carried on the traditions, also came to Hartford in the 1930s and bought out Lux Bond & Lux Jewelers and renamed it Lux Bond & Green in 1933. And they operated separately, but as really one family, M.A. Green in Waterbury, Lux Bond & Green in the greater Hartford, and then the West Hartford area. And we're just very fortunate to be where we are today with six stores, the 4th and the 5th generation working side by side. And it's an exciting time for us. Norma, Charlie, I'm trying to do it as fast as possible without getting the details.
125 years in 10 minutes, right?
But we're lucky that we're still in business. You kind of said, we're still here because we're really about the community. We've never been about the Green family. It's really been about the extended Lux Bond & Green family and everybody that works with us and the communities that we work within. My great-grandfather gave back. He always gave back. He was involved. My great uncles, who I worked with as well, were very involved. My dad. And it's a two-way street. And I think it's served us very well. And we've learned a lot from our community. You can't be a whatever business you're in without knowing what the community wants. And that's really, it's a two-way street.
So speaking to that, what do you see the challenges in the future? I know you opened store 52 recently on Farmington Avenue. What's that? What is that? What is that piece of the Lexington Green family? What does that mean for you guys?
So this is Charlie. So good morning. It's a concept store where we're trying to figure out what that new item is that the customers want. We're trying different trendier styles, different giftware items, trying to see if we can, get that new generation of customer, but also figure out what the new style is, because the same thing that's been selling for the last 125 years, while it still probably will, there's other items that people want as well.
And Charlie, for that store too, the hours were set up differently as well, correct?
Correct. So normally not holiday time, it's Tuesday to Saturday, 11 to 8 p.m. or 11 to 7, excuse me. During the holiday time right now, we're open Tuesday to Sunday.
Excellent.
So do you still get a gold box when you go to store 52?
You do not, but you still get all the care and everything that backs that box as well.
But they are beautiful. They're black and white, right? Aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Like that. So yeah. Still just as classy, Bob. Just not gold.
No, I just my wife loves, and she met John, called him Mr. Green. He said call him John. So a few years back, and Mr. Snoop is her absolute favorite commercial. We play that at least once a year at Christmas time.
It's about 30 years old today, and it's still as relevant as ever. And we get letters about that ad. It really was developed by my dad. And it's fun to it truly makes you smile.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. That's why I brought it out there. Tom, go ahead.
Sure. I was going to mention one thing about just, it's a two-way street that John was talking about, earlier in, we were blessed enough that the Green family had agreed to allow us to pick up their story of the 125th anniversary and publish it in West Hartford Magazine, which means it will go everywhere, Jewish Ledger, weha.com, and the whole bit. But one thing that I reminisced about in my publisher's column for the most recent issue of West Hartford Magazine, I was just trying to think of how long I personally, had been working, with all of you. And believe it or not, I traced it all the way back to having meetings with your father, who would be Bob, right, in the lower level of LaSalle Road. So I don't know what year that was, whatever, but it was a while ago. We won't date ourselves, but it's amazing how, and I've said this to you many times, John, so I'm not saying anything that's going to embarrass you, and I say it all the time to people, we love having, your ads in all of our products and having you support, digitally these days, across, all of those platforms, which are 24/7, 365. And to a guy like me, when you make an error, you can actually correct it now, and you don't have to be. So I like that too. But I think the business community appreciates it just as much as the nonprofit sector, or the customers who are coming into the store. So I just wanted to take a second to acknowledge you for that.
The ads are beautiful. I know that Tom was just saying there, and ads in a magazine like Tom's magazine are almost like the content because they're so pretty. And they tell us such a story. So, and I realize a lot of those ads are provided to you. Do you pick and choose which ads for which products and services that you provide to go to the marketplace? Are you looking at those ads and saying this is right for West Hartford, or this is right for our community, or are the ads kind of chosen by the product like Yerman or Robert Coyne?
No, it's actually all chosen individually by us. So we debate it. Is this right for West Hartford or Glastonbury or Westport, Connecticut? Again, it's about who is our audience, who is our customer, who are we trying to attract. The world has changed. We have a very diverse community, and we're really proud that we have, even within our store, we have a diverse community, and our customers. They're truck drivers and they're CEOs. And we like that. We think that's very important to be a part of everybody's lives. My wife has been our leading sales professional we've been married 44 years, so I feel very proud of that. Norm, 40 of the happiest in my life.
I get it. It's improved. It's improved.
So, Norm, you talk.
Sometimes it's only 15 years. You never know.
Exactly.
So so tell us about that. Tell us about the customer experience and how you see that changing, and how when people walk in your stores, they're so welcoming.
So initially, when John and I met in California at the GIA, because my family had a jewelry company as well, similar to Lux Bond and Green. I was third generation, John was fourth. And he won, so that's why I got hijacked to Connecticut. I was pretty shy. I really preferred to do the appraisals and be off the floor and not be one-on-one with the customer. But as I matured, and it's fun. It's fun. These are our friends. They're not just our clients. We are there for their good times and their bad times. We're there to help them celebrate and to grieve with them. So it's just a great way of having a life to be so involved in our customers and our community.
And and how they've changed, as you said, what has changed. And I think the biggest thing that's changed is how we communicate with them. You just talked about, you're in the digital world, your magazines, and so much of what you do is digitally. Today, we don't say, okay, we'll get back to you. We say, how would you like us to get back to you? Would you like us to text, email, pick up the phone, actually write you a letter? And there's still people of all generations that want all those different ways to be communicated with. Obviously, the youngest generation way down today is mostly text. And that's the way, and sending them a picture or whatever it is, or let's do a Zoom because I can't come into the store and I'm celebrating whatever it is. And we need to be adaptable that way, and we have become that way.
Yeah, I think anyone who hasn't adapted, especially since COVID or pre the pandemic, didn't survive. I mean, it's not, and I say this, Bob and I joke about it all the time. If you had asked me 6 months ago, if we'd be doing a podcast, I'd say, who would care? It's like, who would listen? But it's amazing how many people, it's like, now when they're driving around, they used to listen to music, or they're listening to podcasts. I mean, it's just it's a whole different ballgame. Norma, has that changed the customers, like, e-commerce versus coming into the store, or does it?
So we luckily, I think for us, we still have most of our
We have a dog.
and a dog. Most
and
of
the dog's name is Ruby, right?
Correct.
I like that.
Yeah. Ruby, of course, she's a gem. So I'm happy that most of our customers still do want to come in. I tend to be the kind of person that likes to touch everything when I shop. I can't buy, send back like some of my kids and the younger people do, but it's almost impossible to see the beauty of a piece but through video or, and so if someone comes in, we can really one-on-one explain the beauty of a piece. Yes, I do a lot more work on my phone, on the computer. I got a text from New Zealand at 1:43 this morning about a piece. Of course, I didn't answer till I got back to work because I didn't have the answer. But, the time there's no really work versus not. It's all times you're getting texts and emails, and you have to respond so that they know that you're really interested in helping them.
No, it's funny, even in the world of emails, I find quite often answering and responding to emails on Saturday and Sunday, I actually had better luck with, because people are catching up. They're unplugged and they're at home, or it's not as crazy, at the office or whatever. So obviously not this time of the year, but, any other time. So whatever works.
Yeah. So how did you end up with that? New Zealand that's a really very far away, right? There's a different time zone. How did you end up how do you end up having clients, beyond the scope of the store, like the original footprint. So when you have footprints, usually in retail, used to be within X number of miles between for the store, depending on what kind of product or service you had. But now you're talking about half the world away.
So we're very lucky that we have loyal friends and customers. They travel, they move away, and they still come back to us because they trust us and they know that we have quality product. And that relationship has stayed. This person happens to be in New Zealand and asked a question that I, needed to respond to. But we have customers all over the world. John has friends and customers in, Dubai. I mean, everywhere. So it's not like it's just our neighborhood any longer, and we have to respect that, and that makes us have to work harder because we have to be competitive.
And the neighborhood is worldwide today.
Yeah.
And once upon a time, all of these people, not all of it, there's a few customers I've never met, but they, a referral, where can you get great service and great value and products? And they've come through us and they've stayed as customers, where we feel very blessed that way.
It's funny how I'll tell this quick little story because I think it talks about the way the world operates today. We feature weddings in each issue of the magazine. You guys do an accent, as well. But when my son got married, which was pre-pandemic, after the wedding was featured in the magazine, my wife went out and bought, 20 copies at Barnes and Noble, and then snail mailed them with handwritten notes to all the aunts and uncles, all that. So Ronnie, our editor's daughter, got married, changed the date a couple times, but during COVID. And when she got married, I joke about it all the time. All Ronnie had to do was copy and paste the link. She sent it to 250,000 people in about 30 seconds. So it didn't take her any time, not that many people looked at it, but, certainly a lot more than, 20 aunts or uncles, in that sense. So it really has changed and evolved. And I personally think it's really exciting because, like you said, Norma, who knows who's in New Zealand or who you would think you'd be talking to, but, here you are, conducting business with them,
Yeah.
Great.
I have a question for Charlie. So Charlie, since you're the younger generation here, and what do you see as the future for Luxemont and Green? How do you see your role in that future?
Not that we're going to put you on the spot or anything, Charlie.
No problem.
He's doing a great job. I can tell you that right now.
I only rejoined in January, but whenever anybody asks how long I'm working, I say for 30 years, because since I was born, I've been in the store, and whether it's taking people's jackets at the Christmas party or it's running packages up and down the stairs. And my father found my first sale from when I was like 13 a couple of weeks ago and showed
9 years old.
9 years old. I found the receipt from that. I must have saved it, or he must have saved it. So I mean, I've always been around and part. The future, it's yet to see. I think it's going to be a positive and long continued future. What that looks like, maybe it's VR headsets or, something digital. Are we going to start doing digital jewelry? I have no idea. Who knows what people want in the future, but we're going to be a part of it every step of the way.
And I think that's the key thing. Again, back to being adaptable, and I guess maybe that's our buzzword for this, for this podcast. But
it is. You have to.
And it's amazing because my wife and I are working on a project with a kitchen. And they just, they came, did the measurements, whatever. And then they just said, okay, now we need to schedule an appointment to bring you I forget, it was 3D something. I forgot what they called it. But now we actually, after she decided what it was she wanted, she puts on these goggles and she can see, what the kitchen's going to look like. I mean, it's crazy. It's just, amazing.
Well, that brings up custom work has been a big part of our business always. And custom work used to be, okay, I have an idea. You talk about it, and 3 weeks later, you'd have a pencil drawing, and here it is, and it's one-dimensional. It's although it's beautiful. And today, it's like I have an idea. Here's a picture. Or here's an idea, and within 48 hours, we have a CAD, computer-aided design, three-dimensional, everything about it, the price, whatever it is, and can have it made like within 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks. Everything has to be about speed today. If you don't do it fast, you're not in business. But it also has to involve technology. And we say it internally here all the time. we are a technology company that happens to be in the retail jewelry, watch, and gift business.
Mm-hmm. So true. Absolutely.
I would never have guessed that. I would never have guessed. I mean, I thought about, I know about CAD design and design, but the custom pieces. That's an extraordinary change in how things are made and how people can see it. And that's very true. I think most of us are technology companies now, right? You have to have that understanding of technology, unless you're still making so I was driving to West Hartford yesterday and I saw the wrought iron companies. I think those guys, they're probably still using technology as well, right? They're using their skill sets and drawing it out and creating it in some sort of digital medium, which is all of us are still using technology. That's fascinating.
Good. Well, let me throw a couple commercials in. I just want to remind all of our listeners, they can go to the Lux Bond and Green website. I'm sure they can read the 125th anniversary feature story on the site, or click on Accent and read it there. Or if you're on West Hartford Magazine or Jewish Ledger or Weha.com, click on the most recent issue of West Hartford Magazine, and you can also see it there as well. And it's funny. I don't want to. We're almost out of time, but I don't want to talk too much, about it. But I forgot until I was reading the 125th. I forgot the whole Stevens connection.
Yeah,
a little bit. And I mean, I didn't forget, but once I saw, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. So it's a lot of fun to read it. It just sort of brings you back, in time. So take a few minutes out and enjoy yourself and do that. Secondly, we would not be able to have this podcast on the scene and bring in wonderful guests like Lux Bond and Green if it wasn't for Andreas at NBT Bank being our sponsor. So we really do appreciate their support. And not only did they support this podcast, but the Business Buzz every Monday on Weha.com.
I like how you say Andreas, who I've known for about 15 years, because his last name is too hard to pronounce.
Oh, I wouldn't even attempt it. Bob did a couple of weeks ago. We had him on a podcast, and I was purposely only saying Andreas, and then Bob let out the last name. I was like, oh, but you did it perfectly, right, Bob?
He's a great guy.
I did. I worked on it. For, I had it out phonetically on a piece of paper right next to me. So, tough one.
Anything that we forgot to chat about or that you'd like to bring up?
Just thank you to the community. I mean, obviously, without our customers, we don't have a business. So the community has been so supportive of Lux Bond and Green and our family over these generations. We're very blessed. So it's happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy and a healthy New Year to everyone, whether you shop with us or you don't. We appreciate every opportunity, and again, we feel very blessed.
Great. Well, I'm sure after today they'll check out the websites, and hopefully we can get them to do e-commerce or go in the store, whatever.
Any way they want to shop, we're happy.
Exactly, whatever works for their situation. So thanks again for tuning in. This is Tom Hickey from 2020 Media, and on behalf of Weha.com, West Hartford Magazine, and Jewish Ledger, delivering to you 250,000 readers with each podcast episode. We look forward to seeing you next time on the scene.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.